Hi, folks. As I've said before, I like to read all of the great comments you, my wonderful followers, write to me. I get tons of questions and comments, and I try to reply to each one. Every now and then, I get a viewer that lets me know of a mod they've done to one of my designs, or an antenna idea they have, or occasionally a new TV antenna that they've actually constructed. Recently, a viewer sent me a very interesting TV antenna concept, and it intrigued me enough to have to try and build one. What is this design? How did I construct it? And how well does it receive TV signals? Well, let's hop to it. A few months ago, I received this interesting comment from a viewer named Toganzo Media. He was commenting on the very popular episode where I built a terrestrial antenna out of an old Dish Network satellite dish. He wrote, "The theory is credible, but you're better off using the shell off of an old school 4-foot long metal fluorescent light fixture." He continues, "It was so powerful that I just leaned it up against the wall vertically at ground level and pointed it south." He said he lived in rural Michigan and was able to get stations from Toledo, Cleveland, and even Pittsburgh. Now that really sounds like a powerful antenna. I never thought of using an old reflector like that. It just so happens that I can get my hands on one of those old light shells. This is a build I'm really wanting to try. Unfortunately, they didn't provide many construction details, just that he used some sort of fractal antenna mounted in the middle with a bookshelf bracket. I did try to contact Toganzo Media, hoping they would be willing to discuss this antenna in more detail, but after 3 months, I never received any response. Well, I'm not going to let that stop me, so let's get to building. The fluorescent light reflector that I got is a solid steel shell that appears to be coated with a heavy enamel paint. It measures exactly 48 inches long by 11 inches wide. Already, this gives me a bit of a dilemma. He stated that he used a fractal antenna element, but I'm not sure how he got it to fit within the reflector. I have a fractal element that I've used before, and as you can see, it is much larger than the width of the reflector. He may have mounted the element vertically, but in my experiments, vertically mounted fractals didn't perform nearly as well as those mounted horizontally. For those of you that are wondering, I can't just cut down the element to make it fit, as its length and dimensions are tuned to the TV frequencies that transmit in my area. Modifying it would undoubtedly alter the tuning. After much thought, I decided to just skip the fractal and go with an element that would easily fit into the reflector and will receive all my local stations. I'm going to go with a 7-inch hoop element. I've used hoop antennas on many of my designs, and I've had great success with 7-inch diameter ones. Based on the length of the shield, I think I'll make a vertical antenna with 4 7-inch hoops stacked in the middle of the reflector. I can make these hoops out of any stiff wire that is 14 gauge or larger. I can use galvanized wire, a twisted 3-wire galvanized bundle, aluminum wire, or copper. Since I have some pretty high hopes for this design, I want to use the best wire that I have, so I will be using some 10 gauge Romex. I start by cutting the element wires. I cut 4 lengths of wire, 22 inches each. In order to make some nice round even hoops, I need to straighten each wire. The easiest way to do this is to lock one end into my vise and the other end into my cordless drill. While applying a decent amount of back pressure, I slowly twist the wire. I try to twist just enough to get each one fairly straight, as over-twisting them will make the wire weak and brittle. Using a pair of needle nose pliers, I bend terminal hooks into the ends of the elements. I want these terminals to make good contact with the rest of the antenna's wiring, so I use the anvil on my vise and flatten them with a hammer. To form the elements into hoops, I use a gallon paint can and a rubber mallet to shape the wire into a nice even round circle. Now that the elements are finished, I set them aside and start building the antenna support. I need to make this support to hold the elements in place. I'm using some 1 1/2 inch PVC lumber. I like PVC because it's easy to work with and doesn't rot or warp. I measure a 48-inch length of board, then cut it to size. I'll need to mount this over the center of the reflector, spaced up and away from the metal. I take another piece of the board and cut 4 2-inch pieces. These will be spacer blocks. The support board gets marked at 16 and 32 inches from one end. These are the points where I'll screw in 2 of the spacer blocks. Now I mark where the antenna hoops will be mounted. I measure from the end and make marks at 11, 15, 33, and 37 inches. I also marked the center of the board at 24 inches. This is where the terminals to hook up the cable leads to the TV will be attached. Using a square, I draw lines through each of these points. I make 2 marks on each line, 3/8 of an inch from either edge. I grab some 9/16 inch number 8 lath screws. Using my cordless drill, I drive 1 at each of these points. You know what? Now's a great time for me to remind you to subscribe to my channel. At the 18 and 32 inch marks and at each end of the support board, I use a small bit to drill 4 pilot holes for the spacer blocks. I'm using these 4 1 1/2 inch screws to secure the blocks to the board. Now I center each of the spacer blocks with the board and drive the screws into them. Here's the finished support board with the spacer blocks and terminal screws installed. Next, I have to wire up the antenna to connect the terminals together. Using some 14 gauge solid copper, I cut 4 lengths at 14 inches each. I use wire that has the insulation still on it. Using wire strippers, I remove about 3/4 of an inch of insulation from each end of the wires. Then I bend terminal hooks into them. I screw one of these leads temporarily to the outer antenna terminal and the center cable terminal. I'm going to start by wiring the hoops in a cross wire fashion. Later, I'll rewire them in linear and see if it makes a difference. I pull out the inner terminal screw and mark where the wire crosses the hole. The wire is removed and I can carefully use my razor knife to cut off 3/4 of an inch of the insulation. It's reinstalled and the loop terminals can now make electrical contact with the wire. I repeat this for the other 3 wires, install them, and end up with this configuration. The terminals are loosened and all 4 hoop elements are installed. I make sure they are all lined up, square, and on even plane with each other. This 4-hoop TV antenna is now ready to receive signals. To mount the board to the reflector, I use a couple of lath screws to secure the end spacer blocks using the holes already in the metal. Here's the fully assembled antenna. It's large and fairly heavy. The final thing I need to do is install a matching transformer to the center terminals. This is a Winegard brand transformer, and it attaches like this. Time to see how well this antenna works. I take it up to my antenna test room where I hook it up to my Ematic tuner that is feeding my on-brand TV. I didn't bother to make any antenna mount, so I just prop it up against the cabinet and point it towards some local TV stations. I run a channel scan and I end up receiving 53 channels, which is pretty good for this location. Most come in clear and strong, except those that are in a different direction than where I'm aimed at. That's to be expected as this is a directional setup. I'm a bit amazed that I'm receiving channel 2, which is over 70 miles away and always difficult to receive. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this antenna. To see if it makes a difference, I'm changing the leads so that the hoops are wired in line with each other. I rescan and, interestingly, the results are the same. I still receive 53 channels and the overall performance didn't really change. So let's go for a real challenge. I have a distant station, channel 7, that is very difficult to get. It's around 70 miles away, facing in a different direction than most of the other stations, and its signal is mostly blocked by terrestrial interference. If this antenna can pick up this station, I will be really impressed. I set the antenna in the hallway and aim it towards channel 7's general direction. I know from past experience that it probably won't be strong enough for auto-scanning to detect it, so I go to the Ematic's manual input. The station is channel 7, but it broadcasts on UHF channel 34. I select the frequency and see if it shows up. After a bit of fine adjusting of the antenna position, I do get a signal. I actually get a fairly decent signal. The signal meter reads very stable at 56%, which is about as good as I've ever been able to receive this. The channels are clear with good sound quality and no pixelation. Over the next day of testing, Channel 7 signal varied from 56 down to 46%, but it stayed stable and very watchable. This antenna is definitely a performer. If you have distant television stations that are primarily in the same direction and access to an old fluorescent light fixture, this antenna is definitely worth building. Due to the size and construction, this is best suited to mount indoors, preferably in an attic. I have a few ideas on some tweaks I may try on this antenna. In particular, I may try different spacing from the reflector to the antenna elements to see if I can maximize the reception even more. How about you? Do you have any suggestions on mods I could do? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop me a comment. A very special thanks to my viewer, Toganzo Media, for the inspiration for this antenna build. I know my version is probably nothing like theirs was, but mine did turn out to be a pretty impressive antenna anyway. Please high-five that like icon, jingle the notification bell, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got some new TV antenna designs and episodes in development, so until then, keep watching TV.